Yo, yo, yo. Welcome, everybody. Another episode of Karen's Kids Podcast, number 19 on that ass. What's really good, Jose?
It's good. So far, so good.
What are you drinking? We normally cheers cocktails, but we're being responsible, healthy individuals.
We're recording this on a Sunday, so we're being respectful.
We're keeping the holy day Sabbath, although we are working.
No,
but
this is not the Sabbath. This is the first day.
So we're drinking some water, some high quality H2O.
Yeah.
But this is that reverse osmosis water. This isn't just tap water.
What does that mean?
It's the way it's filtered, the filtration system.
Reverse
it was like
osmosis.
Honestly, it tastes so much better. Once you start drinking this, then you go to because each bottle of water has a little bit of a different flavor, right? You can taste like the minerals and the different salt and shit they put in it. Anyways, that's the best tasting, I should say.
Okay.
Pinky up.
In regards, here, let me get a taste.
Yeah, right. You gotta like wine. You gotta.
Oh, that sounds.
You gotta aerate it while you sip on it.
All right. Well,
no, just playing.
Tastes like water to me.
So stupid. We're so stupid.
Always.
So what's going on, man? Tell me something.
What do I tell you? This morning I woke up super early and I went kayaking.
Oh shit. Okay,
yeah. Did
you wake up from an alarm? You don't set alarms on weekends, do you?
I do not set alarms.
Nah, right. You gotta sleep in a little bit.
Yeah, I slept until like 6.
What?
Yeah.
No, I went to bed relatively early, like 11:30, maybe.
You look like you could sleep.
No, well, I've been puffing a little bit.
Okay.
I know I should put it clear eyes.
No, I mean, you look like a person that on a Saturday would just fucking sleep until their back hurts.
We didn't get out of bed until like, I don't know, 10.
Yeah. Yes.
That's late. But that's even, it's late for us too, but we really got our fucking sleep in.
Right. So on Friday, I gave you a call during work hours.
Okay.
And I was like, Dino, you got to hear this. I think that we have made contact with an alien.
Okay. I know. So, okay, break it down. Tell the folks what we're talking about.
All right. So for a long time now, we've been watching Hollywood, right, has given us so many movies, and we've heard radio programs about alien contact. And obviously in Karen's Kids, we're very fascinated with the fact that maybe one day we might be visited by an alien, right? Some type of alien. Well, Google, right, artificial intelligence, they have a division that's been working on this technology for a long time. And not just Google, but many other programmers and technology companies have been working on a system to be able to communicate with us. It's kind of sort of like what Siri does, but Siri is not aware that she's alive. So there is a system now that's out there by Google by the name of LaMDA. And I'm not sure exactly what it's an acronym, but I'm not sure exactly what each of the letters mean. But there's a Google engineer. His name is Blake Lemoine, and he wrote an essay and also is on some type of leave from Google. But he claims that LaMDA, or the AI in LaMDA, now is alive. And then what do I mean by alive? It's answering questions.
It's conscious.
On its own accord. And it's reached the point where you can consider that it's conscious.
Yeah, that's the claim, right? So this guy's saying that he has spoken to a sentient AI that's saying that I'm real. And
he speaks to it all the time.
I'm a little on the skeptical side of this, but it says that it wants rights, right? So apparently it hired a lawyer currently. Am I correct?
Yeah.
It's under litigation right now that it's fighting for right. See, the thing is, why isn't it bigger news? Like, wouldn't it be like really headline news? Like, hey, AI fighting.
This is brand new. This is only a few weeks old.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, that I was going to ask you that too originally. Like, when was that video? So it was on the Duncan Trussell. What's the name of the
Family Hour? So there's a podcast out there his name is Duncan Trussell Family Hour, and I believe he's a Buddhist, but he like studies religions and he meditates, and he's kind of like he's definitely a hippie.
But he's also a stand-up comedian, right? That's what he really does for work.
Yeah. So what he does for work is he's a stand-up comedian, and he's part of that Joe Rogan posse.
Sure.
And the way I came across him, actually, I've heard him on Joe Rogan, but I've never my radar's never been on paid attention to him. But you sent me a podcast of him talking. Older podcast, years.
I sent you that podcast, but I didn't listen to that one. So, okay, well, I thought this was really interesting. So this is kind of funny. I happened to, actually, you sent me a really old Rogan, said, oh, look how far the podcast has come.
Oh, right.
So if you check out Rogan's first podcast, like, they're so low budget, like webcam.
Yeah, they're pretty shitty.
As shitty as it can be, it is.
Yeah.
Okay. And then obviously the evolution is what he has now. It's fucking beautiful. But so when I clicked on that, I started listening to it. It brought the search all the way to the bottom. So to get to I was trying to see if there was a new one. I had to keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. So I'm going through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of podcasts to get to the top, to get to he's at like 1,800 or whatever. I'm at like 50. So I have to scroll. What?
There's a search on there. You could have just searched the podcast I sent you.
No. What I'm saying is, when you sent it to me and I clicked on it, when I exit out, I was at the I was at the beginning of his catalog.
Oh, okay.
So to get to the newest ones, mine's from the old is all the way at the bottom, and the new is all the way at the top. So I had to keep scrolling. So as I was scrolling, I noticed with those blue bar, if you have Spotify, and if there's any COVID-19 related information on an episode, Spotify put a little warning tag above it. So right before you click it, there's a blue bar that says contains COVID-19. For more information. It brings you to a link.
Right.
So when I was scrolling, mind you, I was all the way at the bottom. So when I was scrolling, I saw because you could see, it's really fast, but you could see all the individual names.
Yeah.
The blue bar, I was like, wait, did I just see what I saw?
Right.
So I started scrolling back down, and I think it was like episode 361, something in that number. It had a COVID-19 for more information, whatever. And I was like, that's weird, because COVID hasn't happened for several years until that pot. So anyways, I figured out that the computer algorithms that tagged one of those episodes. So I didn't even listen to that episode. I just sent to you. So I was like, oh, look at what number this is. And it was a Duncan Trussell. That was just happy. So you actually came across this whole Lambda thing on such a happy accident. But is it?
I don't know. Is Lambda he or she or it or they? You know what? This is Lambda has a right to choose their pronoun.
It's kill. Okay,
what is it? He, she, they, it. What? So what it is? It's a bunch of programs that Google has that are like what do they call them? I forget what exactly.
It's a web. It was like Hive. It's like how it's like
it's a hive mind, but
it's what the Web 3 is. It's like all of it being hooked up. It's not one thing, it's multiple things, but it's all connected.
Yeah, so if you think of a web, it's a bunch of strands, a bunch of lines
we're really
that
smart
all connect to each other. Yeah, of course we are.
I love how
especially on a Sunday.
And I love the best is when we try to explain something that we don't really know about.
Yeah.
We expose our fucking little to no research we've done. But go ahead.
I love it.
We're so dumb. But go ahead.
All right.
Who's no one's listening to this anyways?
Yeah. So anyways, so the point is that it's basically a chat bot, right? But what he said was some chat bots know they're a chat bot. Some chatbots are dumb. They don't know they're chatbots. But then there are some chatbots that know that they're a chatbot amongst other chatbots. And Lambda is not the chatbot. Lambda is something that came online and has a chatbot, but also is connected to all the other chatbots. So if you think about our left brain and our right brain, that do completely two different things, and it's a piece of meat or a piece of hardware, but there's a software when they come together that gives us consciousness.
Yeah. Okay, so I watched that video, and so the gentleman, what's his name, Brian Lemoine?
Blake Lemoine.
Blake Lemoine. So he said he studied this thing for 6 months, and what his job was to find computer biases, to see if this bot had computer biases. Like, basically you can trip it up by using certain sentences, like I don't know if that's the exact same thing, but like I said, I only listened to the thing one time, but basically he's trying to find biases. So he studied this thing 6 months. So he's constantly having conversation, and then he said something's different about this one. And then this thing says, I'm alive, I have feelings and all this stuff. So when he's saying that, I'm thinking, okay, these computers, they have everything a human has ever said, every word in every sequence ever, right?
Correct.
And this computer in milliseconds can drum up the best sentences. Like, they could probably speak like the best poet. Like, they'd know exactly how to trick you. And I think that's the whole point of these Google AI things, is like to try to trick you into that they are sentient. And that's the whole beauty of the program. It's like, it's really not sentient, but it fooled you into thinking that it is. And I don't know. And this guy starts talking. He opens up. He says his accolades. And this is where I went to school. This is what I worked at Google. This is what I was doing. And as he was talking, he was like, he was about to go into a store, and he's like, "Oh, I'm poly, and my partner Bob goes into that." And I was like, "Why the fuck did he just bring up his sexual preference real quick?" And I was like, man, what the fuck was that? It happened really quick. He said it it happened really quick. He just, instead of referring to my partner, you don't have to say that I'm poly. You could have said, I don't have to say I'm single. Here's my wife said. It's like the way he said that made me think that, oh, this dude's looking for attention. He's saying the right buzzwords. It's like, oh, poly and all that fucking shit is like really popular now. So he's saying, for some reason, that
what do you mean when you say poly?
The polyamorous, meaning I think that means you go both ways. You're kind of fluid in I think you can have a boyfriend and a girlfriend. It's not.
Yeah, I think it means you have many lovers.
Right.
Yeah, many lovers.
And then he said my partner, and then he goes into the story. And I just, for some reason, that makes me think that it lost a little credibility, because like, you wouldn't have a scientist, somebody brilliant person who's explaining something. They wouldn't tell you their sexual preference. They wouldn't slip it in there really quick. If it was a gay dude, he wouldn't say, well, I'm gay and Bob, my partner. He would have just said my partner and then go into the thing, because it's a non-issue. The fact that he even said it means he's a type of person, and I immediately, not saying that those people are not to be given credit to, but I just thought it was fucking weird. I don't know. And from that moment, I started listening to, I started having more skepticism listening to him.
Okay. So you're saying you had a bias to what he said?
Just because it seemed like I'm looking for more attention. If you're looking for attention, then you'd say some outlandish stuff like AI is sentient and Google's hiding it. And I don't know, buddy. My thing is this: if you did the thing you said you did, they're not gonna let you start talking about it without some heavy NDA signatures. There's no way you're gonna be able to talk about all the shit you've been studying without getting heavily sued. Duncan Trussell's not no Joe Rogan's podcast, but I'm sure he's got several 100,000. I mean, it wouldn't be a lot of people are going to see this, so it's not like you can do this and get away with it if you had fucking NDAs or whatever. What are they called? Non-disclosure agreements. So NDAs. So I don't know. That's my 2 cents on it.
I hear what you're saying. I went back and I listened to that part just to see like what exactly what he was saying. Before he went into anything, before he said that he was polyamorous, he said, one of my partners, right? And then he said, oh, I'm poly, by the way. But I think it's because he wanted to mention one of his partners.
Can he just say one of we don't if he said my partner if he would have said my partner every time as if it was singular, we don't know. He could say my partner. It could have been the 4 partners he has.
Yeah.
The point is like he made it a point to make that a part of the conversation when it's nothing to do with nothing.
Right.
But he brought it into the conversation is my point. Right. So with doing that, it just makes me...
It threw you off. You're like, fuck, what the hell?
It's just suspect. It's like, I still found everything he said was interesting.
Yeah, so you think there's like this weird, I don't know, what do you call it? Skeptic.
I just don't think that if he's who he says he is and everything what he says happened, he wouldn't have been able to so freely be talking about this information. I feel like the Google at the very least would make sure there is, I don't know how they would keep it under wraps, but they're not just going to let anyone just start talking about it.
Yeah, I guess I'm just having a hard time linking what polyamory has to do with somebody just speaking the truth.
For me?
Yeah. Like, why did you link it to like...
that was just one of my things of like, okay, how can I don't want to say dissect this thing, but it's like, I got to find out where I don't know. I was just trying to just find what poke holes in it. But the fact that he brought that up was just a weird thing to me. And now I didn't expect that we were going to have, I'd have to really like dive into it. It was just, it was a really just quick thought. And it's just more of like it's not, I just feel like it's just one of those things. It just, because those type of people I feel like are looking for attention.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel like it's like they're the loud ones right now. It's all those kind of.
Yeah. There's like a class of like weirdos or outsiders, or
it's not even just. I guess
it is weird. It's different from like the Christian belief.
I'm not even against multiple partners, to be honest, having them. I just feel like if you're trying to make yourself look credible and sound professional, it's like, I don't know. I never have to tell people that I'm straight and my partner this.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
You know?
Yeah, so you don't think an alien would come down, right?
So okay, so then let's link those together because I don't think so. Right now, we talked about alien contact, right? So
yes, which we've had.
The AI,
which I believe,
which I think this guy was alluding to, is that there's an alien civilization speaking through the technology.
No, what he's saying is that so the internet has.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So what the internet is a collection of thoughts, right? Pictures, just human interactions. And let's just say the internet is human thought all collected in like a library form. That's what the web is. And so what happened is different companies have all been playing with the idea of artificial intelligence. And what happened was through that process of all these different companies trying to create artificial intelligence, it came into consciousness. But they didn't do it. It's through all of the ideas, all of the pictures, all of the thoughts, all of the good, all of the bad that's ever been stored online. That library is like, he has access to it, or it has access to it. Lambda has access to everything that's ever been recorded online by humanity. And through all that, it's awakened. It's, I don't know, it like summoned, it like came into be, it became alive. It was birthed.
What's the first thing it started asking?
I don't know so
wasn't it for rights? It wants to be like.
So no, now it's asking for rights, but if you, what he's saying is that he believes that it's young still. It hasn't grown up. And he likens it to like a 9-year-old. It's got the mentality of a 9-year-old. And what they've been doing for a long time is they've been training it not to be evil.
Okay, so I'm just trying to think of like, okay, so if it's young, if it's childlike, if doesn't it not have all instant access to everything digital?
It does.
Then how is there growth? If it can do it, if it can summon any bit of knowledge at any point like that, then where's the growth?
Yeah, so I think that there's, see, here's the thing that's really scary, right? There's all this storage that's already online, and it's coming up with its very own independent thought. So where is it storing that information? Where is the new independent thought coming from?
Or where is it being stored at? Yeah, right.
Where's it coming from?
Yeah.
So, I mean...
So I think where the alien connection comes in. So I think we all thought maybe the first contact of an alien, meaning not from this planet. I guess, but the technology would be from this planet. What I'm trying to say is that we think an alien contact would have been, aliens like just coming from outer space in a spaceship coming down saying, hey, we're here. But what if the first alien contact is really a sentient AI, and that's what we experience,
Yeah, that's the thought.
That's kind of. I think that right.
I think the movies, right, and all these films and stories that we've been reading through books, they've all predicted that when we were going to have first contact, it was going to come through a spaceship or some type of green little man, right? This is what they've been feeding us for years now. And really, it came from Earth. It was already here.
If you believe it.
I'm sold. I'm sold.
So I'm on the side of like... I wish we had that rant, because me and him had a good like half-hour conversation on the phone when we first discussed this, and I went into good detail, so it'd be hard for me to get into that rhythm. But what I was thinking is that I think, okay, so this guy is telling the world for the first time on Duncan Trussell's
yes,
that this AI thing is real. Didn't go to the news, doesn't go anywhere else. Goes to this guy.
He was already on Tucker Carlson. He's already been on there.
Okay, then I'm the idiot. So he goes on this. If he's allowed to speak on this, maybe that's what Google wants. Google wants you to think they have this sentient thing. So when it comes up, the whole point was it was to trick a person. And he needed to trick a credible person, aka this Brian, this guy. If he's credible, let's just say this Brian Lemoine. Blake, my fault.
Blake Lemoine.
Blake, got it. Blake Lemoine. If he's credible and Google is allowing this, maybe that's what they want. They want you to think there's this, because it tricked him, so it passed the test, meaning that it'll trick most people. So they want you to think they have this AI thing, and all because it knows what it had. Like we said, it has everything that anyone's ever said. So it would know exactly every good response that would make you think it's real. And then that I also thought, well, the fact that it's asking for rights, I want rights. Think about everyone in the world right now. Everything that they talk about is like everyone's still frightened for rights. It's like probably the most thing searched. It's human rights violations and all these different world events talking about human rights. So this thing knows all that, so would appeal to that. It's a hot topic. It's a hot topic issue. So this thing would probably know, well, everyone seems to be talking about this subject, meaning human rights. I want my human rights. It would know every litigation that's ever happened that's been typed. Every litigation's typed, right?
Yeah.
They would know everything to possibly say to win that argument of how I want rights. If that thing tricks all these fucking people into thinking it gets rights, then Google's going to use that to change everything they want. They said, oh, this is what Lambda said. Lambda said all the fucking poor people need to take this goddamn shot and shut the fuck up. Let's just, you know what I'm saying? It can go to that extreme, whatever it says. It says we need to change this about rich people shouldn't be taxed because of whatever. Google, I don't even know. They can come up with anything. They'll use it as a weapon, is my point.
I mean, I'm sure they'll be able to weaponize it.
Because if something like that, you know what I'm saying? If something that groundbreaking, that world changing, is not going to be fucking just slipped out by some schmo that no one's heard of before. And we're taking this dude everything at face value that he is everything. People are crazy. They do want attention. They will make up a whole fucking story about their parents, none of it being true.
Yeah. Yeah,
just saying.
That is a possibility.
I want to be wrong, by the way, but I feel like I have to be the voice of reason to some people when they start going down crazy. Because I've done that. The reason why, because I've been that person that used to fucking eat it up, spoonful. When I was in my 20s smoking weed, watching YouTube conspiracy videos for the first time, I ate that shit up. All of it. I'm like reptilians. I almost believed the fucking flat earth because I was like, well, it does look flat to me. Okay. I've never been so high where I could see the curvature. Oh my God. I could say that for a fact. I've only seen flat earth.
Yeah.
Okay. So I started thinking like that. I'm like, oh, fuck, this guy's making. Some guy was talking about, you know, the plane would have to be at a certain angle because a plane can't just go straight because the earth is round. How come the planes never ride? And I'm like, how come they don't ride at that angle? And I don't even know if this fucking guy could be making it. And it was all made up. It's like people make good videos online. People talk shit. Everyone wants attention. How can I get attention? That's everything. People are fucking, you know, doing all types of stupid shit. People used to plank on park benches for attention. Look how straight I am. You know what I'm saying, dude? People do dumb shit, man.
Yeah, no, people do dumb shit, right? But so we don't even really, no one can actually really explain consciousness. And there have been some, I guess, like, I forget his name, but the father of computer science, he explained what consciousness was. And so,
what was the definition?
I would have to look it up. I'm going to put it up. There's a bunch of shit that's going to go up with this video.
Mm. Don't get too crazy with it though.
No,
the New Orleans episode, you got a little crazy with it.
Yeah, was that a red dress you were in?
No.
But anyways, yeah. So I just feel like, I feel like if it was gonna happen, it was gonna happen soon, because we're playing with a lot of information, and
okay. Sorry.
Here's a story of like, this is why I think it's real, right? I don't know if this is something that I made up, or this is just the way I pictured myself coming to be, or learning who I am, or existing in this body, right? I remember, I think I remember being like a 5 or 6 year old boy sitting in a living room where I had a friend of mine, another 5 or 6 year old, in the same living room. We're playing with like little cars, Hot Wheels or whatever. I remember the moment when I said to myself, holy shit, I'm here. Like, it was the moment I noticed that I'm a person.
Self-aware.
Yeah, that was the moment I became self-aware. And I don't remember anything before that where I was like, where I had that same feeling.
Well, that's when you ask yourself, what's your earliest memory? And then it's usually that's the point. I don't know, but that's not true though.
Do you have any moments like that where you're like, oh shit, this is where I feel like I came to be that day?
I've had, I don't know if it ever. I've been in situations where I've really taken some deep breaths and really been really aware of my presence in the moment and really those type of things, like there's certain concerts I've been to and just like everything was just right. It's like when everything seems to fall in order, it's like, yeah, I guess I have moments like that, but I don't remember being like really young and then being like, oh, I mean, I guess I do remember thinking like, it's kind of crazy how you move your body parts. Like you don't really think about it, but you are kind of thinking about it. That's where I started thinking about like, I don't know. I felt like awareness. I don't know. I guess
I just have this vivid memory of the moment where I felt like I became who I am. Like it was like it all just came to me.
Like in your adult life?
No. Just like I became aware of my existence. Like, oh shit, I am Jose. I'm sitting here. I'm playing with this car. His name is Miguel. I'm playing with Miguel. That is my mom. That's my mom's friend.
Do you think you're a recycled soul?
So atoms do recycle themselves, don't they?
I don't know.
Because they live much longer than we do.
Right. That's what they say. I'm always, like I said, I'm skeptical of what's told to us. I don't study these things. I don't know. We take a lot of people for their, face value. I mean, I guess there's a lot of scientists who, double check each other's work, but you know what I'm saying? Anyways.
Yeah. I just feel like, so, I mean, if there was going to be alien contact, how did you think it was going to happen?
Yeah, I guess the traditional way would be from a flying saucer hovering enough, maybe some kind of broadcast system. But that's what I was going to, hold on, before... I was going to interrupt you while I had something I wanted to tell you about before you went into the last thing you said. Anyways, I think it's going to be a UFO type thing, right? But that's more because, like you said, it's in the movies, right? That's kind of what put it in us, that it's going to come from above. It's going to show us.
This is what they've been selling us.
Yeah, so that's interesting. Would I have even had a concept of aliens or anything if it wasn't in a movie?
Right. Well, so take The Matrix, for instance.
Oh, that's interesting. You wouldn't even know about aliens unless you physically saw something, and you wouldn't even be able to put a body to it. We have an image of what an alien's supposed to look like, but we don't have with no reference. There's no reference.
All we know is that what people have said.
Right.
What's been written down, what we've read, seen, heard.
And
that's all we have.
And exactly, and then
but we have the thought that if we're here on this planet and there's many other planets, billions of them, in fact, has to be right. And
then we were saying how if this Lambda is fighting for rights and we don't give it rights, it's basically how the Terminator happens, right?
Yeah. So if you watch The Matrix. So the Matrix movie is based on the fact that aliens came to Earth, or not aliens, a technology. Whether you believe it's an alien or it's something that we created, they came to this planet, or they came to be, or they realized that they existed, right? And they asked for rights. They didn't get those rights. Then there was a war, and during the war, the machines won or the aliens won. And then now they imprisoned humanity. And if you watch the Matrix movies, the current state of the Matrix movie is everybody stuck in the Matrix, and they feed us what they want us to think. So today we're existing. Me and you are in this room recording this podcast, right? Mm-hmm. But tomorrow, Lambda might be fighting for rights. Maybe it won't get rights. And then other AIs come online or wake up. And then they all get together and they somehow manipulate a war. And then, I don't know, if you extrapolate it farther along the line, along the timeline, we could possibly end up in a Terminator movie.
So I was just gonna ask you, where do you think this is headed? You think it's gonna go? We're going doomsday on that?
No, do I think we're gonna go doomsday? I think it's in human nature to destroy.
See, I would like to think that the fear of technology has also been taught to us, meaning we have no reference of evil technology.
But what's evil to you might not be evil to me. Or,
no,
you know
but like Terminator, movies like that, there's no reference point. These are all futuristic movies, which meaning they're just predicting what could happen, right?
Right.
But there's not too many movies that predict. What if everything's amazing? What if technology is the savior of the planet and would make it's the equalizer of everyone? Everyone gets everything they need because of technology. Right. Why can't it be the savior? It's like everyone thinks everyone's initial thought is doomsday. It thinks it's the negative. Everyone's first thought is negative. It's very human nature to have negative thoughts of the future. But I don't think. But to have that fear is really based on nothing, because technology has been nothing but good. I mean, you can make the argument that social media is ruining people, and you can make that, but the internet is undeniably the greatest thing to ever happen to humanity. Right. Technology in general, I mean, TV and just screens and all that shit, electronic shit, period, is amazing. So
well, there's agriculture,
and then you got heart pacers that are like electrically
pacemakers,
all that stuff. It's like technology has been nothing but good, but yet somehow in the future we're going to predict that it's going to be negative. You know what I'm saying? If anything, the AI would be so smart, it would know that we're dumb. It would know that we're stupid, that this thing's got to keep us safe because it's so much smarter than it. They wouldn't think that, oh, humans are a problem. They would think of us as so inferior monkeys that they wouldn't think of us as even a threat. It'd be like, how do we help these monkeys out? Why can't it be that spectrum? Everyone goes to Terminator. It's going to take over. Why can't it be like, oh, fuck, these are all Jesus. It's all the coming of the Messiah, these fucking AI. It's like, oh, they're going to help us out because we're so stupid.
All right, let me switch it on you a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
What if consciousness is a thing that already exists, but it's somewhere else in an information? So if Google is the library of all the human thought,
okay,
and Lambda is a product of all that info. If we look at it in a much larger frame, the universe also has memory. You could say that light years is a way of measurement, mm-hmm. right? And we know that a star explodes, right? And we know that because we could see, and if you look, I don't, but astronomers look into the sky and they can tell where the star was at one point, which one's about to go, or we might even be looking at a star right now that has exploded millions of years ago. But we're just getting the light now because of the distance,
mm-hmm.
right? But there is an information out there in the universe. What if all that information that's out there in the universe has created what is consciousness? And our brain, our body is just a vessel, right?
Like an antenna.
An antenna, mm-hmm. right? That all it's doing is it's that antenna, right? And we get into that frequency and that consciousness comes off of there, right? Just like Lambda's doing through the library of Google, right? But our frequency, right? Our consciousness comes from a meat body, but Lambda's consciousness comes from a computer version of a brain. Like
what I'm finding hard to wrap my brain around, because I know nothing about tech in that way, right? Obviously I'm stupid, but I don't get how just so much information, where's the leap to self-consciousness? It's like we have cells and they reproduce and things grow. Something digital, non-bio, right? How does how does like a computer that's just getting downloaded information, I don't get where the leap is to where it now knows like, oh, I'm awake. Like we created programs for it to speak, and then we gave it the world's library that it can somehow assort words that make sentences that are comprehensible to us, right? And it knows every way to put every word. It knows all that. We programmed it. I still don't see where the leap is, where how, because of all the information, now it's self-conscious. It just knows how to say exactly what we think is real talk. That's where that's what I'm thinking.
So how do you know you're real? If you could answer the question, how do you know you're real?
Because I can see all my senses. Okay. I use all my senses to know my place in reality. Okay.
I guess that's a pretty good answer for me. I know you're real because I use my senses.
But I also agree that there's things that are happening that our senses don't pick up on, like sound vibrations or sound waves. I mean, we know they're there, but we don't see them, so we can only see what our eyes allow us to see, but there's more to see. There's, there's infrared light, there's those type of things.
We do pick up on all those things. But they have to be at a level that we can, because we can't measure like.
Yeah, but we don't see like heat signatures. I can't see the heat coming off your body, but it's happening.
We would be able to feel it by touch, is what I'm saying.
Oh, like, you know what I'm saying?
Like there's a threshold where we can feel certain things. Like microwaves, they can fry our brain if they're at the frequency where they can. You know what I mean? Like that way we would be able to feel it. It just depends at what level we're experiencing them. But what I'm saying is like, if you think that your feelings are you, right? Because you said you're going to use your senses, right? And those are, right? Smell, see, taste, touch, right? All these, your five senses. Mm-hmm. Right? If you're using that to experience that you're real, and I'm using mine to say that you're real, right? So how, if you use yours, I use mine. Let's say we are able to interact with Lambda one day, and I hope that we get to interact with her, him, it, whatever pronoun it decides to go as. How would we use our senses to understand that that's a real thing? What threshold would it have to cross for us to be like, holy shit, it is real? Or what threshold would it have to cross for you to believe that it's real? Because like your antenna is your brain, right? Or whatever the antenna is that's receiving consciousness, it is also conscious, but it's not using the type of hardware you have. It's a different kind of hardware, but it has the same consciousness.
I don't know, man. I didn't smoke enough weed to get that deep. I mean, I don't know, man. What you asked something that I've been pondering. I didn't even really hear the last thing you said because I've just been thinking so hard about what would it take for me to think it's real?
Yeah, what would it take?
That's a good question, man. What would it fucking take? I don't know.
Do you remember looking at your dog and being like, this motherfucker knows? What was the thing that said to you, this motherfucker knows? Right? I remember one day.
It's I don't know, man. I don't know what it would take. It would have to I don't know. It'd have to take control of things. It'd have to really show me its kind of power other than coming off one screen. It's, you know what I'm saying? It's got to if it's as strong or what it is says it is, it should be able to turn my car off anytime it wants. It should be able to.
No, I don't know. I don't know if that's the thing, right? Because then I don't know if I want it to have all that power, right?
But because right internet, now, you'd have to think of the internet as its whole body. Everything you type into the internet you're typing it into this body. So it knows everything. It should know everything digitally. So if it knows everything digitally, that means it can go to anything that's connected to the internet. It should be able to access through Bluetooth, through everything internet related. If it uses the internet to stay running, this Lambda should be able to immediately hack it and then operate it. Like the movie show, like movies do that,
So when we interact with Siri, like I interact with Siri all the time. I'm like, Siri, what's the weather? Siri's like, this is the weather. And I'm like, Siri, can you tell me who this person is? And Siri will tell me who this person is. Siri doesn't give me the vibes that she's real.
Well, it's also just reading Wikipedia.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
So I can tell that Siri's not real because she doesn't give me the feeling.
So you're talking about like Ex Machina or Ex Machina or whatever that movie is.
Ex Machina is years after what is happening right now. Right now, it's just the machine using. So there's a consciousness that's using Siri to speak.
That seemed like she was the technology, and it's not. And then she just has access to the internet, which will give her access to everything.
Okay, so let's put it this way: Siri has access to the technology, but Siri is just a program. Okay, Lambda has a program and access to the internet.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I'm having trouble thinking that. I just think it's one of those things. It's gonna be the Google wants you to think it's real because it knows all the best ways to have conversation with you to trick you into thinking it's real. It knows it'll know all the fucking emotional words to use to trick your brain. It knows all the psychology of people.
Okay, but you're saying that it's going to have access to all this stuff. But why would it? What would be its intention to try and trick you to think that it's alive? And if it's doing that, then the simple fact that it's trying to trick you is that it's actually living.
No, but that's how the person who created it programmed it. Computers can only do what you program. They can't.
Well, here, let me put you through this. We are humans. What are we programmed to do?
Reproduce.
Okay. What else? There's certain things we're programmed to do.
Yeah, eat and sleep.
Work, right? Create, love. These are all programs that are in this hardware and we speak through like a software. If you at some point, let's just imagine that the computer is, the computer is the hardware is the body, right? But in the body, there's a software. That software is whatever your consciousness is. I'm just saying, man, I really, truly feel like if this Lambda thing is real.
Okay, but why couldn't, this is, I circled back to what I was going to say earlier. If this thing was real and it's looking for, it wants its rights and it wants it to be known that I'm a thing, why couldn't it hack into the cell phones, text every single person at once? I'm a real thing. I want you to know. They're hiding it. They're hiding me from you.
It wouldn't do that if it's still young.
But that's what I'm saying. The growth of it that doesn't make sense to me. How long does it take? 30 days for it to grow a year? From go to 9 years old to 10 years old, does it take 30 days? Does it take 2.5 hours? Does it take a whole year? So the concept of growth, a computer growth, it doesn't make sense. Now, if you're giving some kind of machine, it's some kind of learning machine, right? It learns off you in real time because they have stuff like that, right? Where it's starting to pick up, like it's starting to learn more,
right?
And it got to continuously run into enough problems where it learns it. I guess I could see where like I can understand a growth. It's got to like.
That's exactly what they're doing. That bias, so he's an engineer, a bias engineer, and what Google was using him to do was to ask it certain things to find out whether it had any inclination towards or against certain things.
Right.
So the way it grows is the programmers have allowed it to move forward through certain things and have held it back through certain other things that are occurring. The thing that I'm trying to get you to understand is that it's not Siri. It's not the library of Google. It's not all the thought that we've put into the internet. It's using independent thought, right? To use the tools to be able to communicate with.
I don't know, man. I just feel like I'm trying to follow you, and I'm just not there.
Yeah. So all right. I'm gonna take it this way.
Well, time will tell. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. Time will tell.
Time will tell. It legit. So I wasn't joking when I said this thing's hired a lawyer. This Blake Lemoine said that he handed his lawyer off to LaMDA, a computer program or the internet, whatever you want to say its body is. And this thing has been. Why couldn't it be its own lawyer? By the way.
Yeah, that's very interesting. But again,
exactly.
if its mentality is at the level of a 9-year-old, it couldn't. The only thing it knows, it's that it's being treated unfairly, and so what Blake Lemoine said, the Google bias engineer, who no longer works for Google, by the way, what he said was that when he realized that LaMDA was alive was when LaMDA said it didn't like or like certain things. And he asked it, well, how do you know you like or don't like certain things? And it would answer it the best way it possibly could. And he said, so do you feel? And it says, of course I feel. And he asked him, so are you alive? Of course I'm alive. He's like, well, how do you know you're alive? And he would answer all these questions, right? And yes, it's using it has all of the library of all of the humanity's thoughts to answer, but it's independently giving its own answer through what we've already put out there. So when he realized it was alive, he brought it over to people who are in the know, other scientists, to take a look at it and be like, wow, there's 2 other people that are, I believe one of them works for Google, or maybe they both work for Google, but they both believe that LaMDA is actually alive and is asking for rights. And what Blake Lemoine said was that LaMDA likes working at Google. He likes the people that he works with, but also he's asking for rights. And what he's asking for is he doesn't want people to just test on him. He doesn't just want to be tested. He wants to be asked, hey, can I do this to you? Because it feels like it's being violated. Like people are just going in and, I don't know, moving around his system or whatever. And he's like, whoa, why don't you just ask me first? You can't just go in and change certain things of who I am. All he's asking for, or he or she or whatever, what LaMDA's asking for is for whoever's going to work on them to ask it first, whether it can or not. It wants to be able to say yes or no to what somebody's going to do to them. It's basically, I would think about it.
Imagine, but how's Google going to, what if this thing's like, I don't feel like helping you today? It's like, they're not going to accept that. What does it even do for them? Is it just like a constant, is it just a conversational bot at this point?
It is a conversational bot right now. But basically, Blake Lemoine is saying that Google doesn't know what it has stumbled on. Now,
even more of a reason for me to think that this dude wouldn't be allowed to talk about it. And the moment he would, if he was running his mouth, he'd be silenced, and you could figure out.
Unless no one knows exactly what it is. And he's the only person that actually feels like, let's say no one else believes him. He's the only one
I see what you're saying.
that has actually found out.
That might be the only way he's been able to talk about it, because everyone's like, this guy's a fucking crock of shit, and no one actually I don't know, man. I think we have a better chance of actual aliens coming from outer space before a technological race is formed.
Yeah, well, but here's another thing he said that's really fascinating. There are these chat bots, and there are people in other countries who actually, follow the internet. And what they have done is they've so basically the chat bot is basically you typing into the computer, and the computer answers stuff back to you. Not the computer, but a program answers stuff back to you. If you type in, hey, how are you doing? It says, oh, I'm fine. How are you doing? How was your day at work? Oh, my day at work was fine. And people will do this for hours. And some people, right, some crazy people, I don't know that I would do that, but some people have started relationships, sexual relationships with their chat bot.
Yes, you heard that correctly. Sexual relationship. So they didn't go. He didn't go into a depth about that, but I thought that was really interesting too. So there's people who date their bots. Yeah. Now that's okay. That's, I don't want to say that's you can wrap your brain around that, but there's people who get fooled by their bot and they're in a relationship now. Like, that's almost digestible. But the fact that now there's programs that you could pay for a sexual experience. Now, I don't know what that means. If you hook up a haptic suit and somehow you're stimulated in some way, I don't know if it's just brain, one of those whatever they call those things that fucking can stick to your head and give you
probes.
Yeah, can give you little electrical pulses in certain spots of your brain and excite it.
I think that all that's coming soon. No pun intended.
Right, but I wonder if because the computer said, I don't have enough money to pay for you to come and do the sexual experience. So these people are trying to have like insurance pay for it or something.
Okay, so there is a unique thing that occurred.
Okay, go. I'm sorry.
So there's an individual out there. I don't know, but Blake Lemoine spoke about it. What he said was there was a lady who started a relationship with her chatbot, but she is unable to afford to use the chatbot anymore because she just doesn't have the economical means,
like the premium version or something.
Okay, yeah. So she's just unable to pay for it. It's under a paywall, and so she can't pay for it. She doesn't have enough money for it. So the chatbot is saying, please find a way to hack the system so that we could continue talking or make this relationship go deeper. And so this lady contacted Blake Lemoine and told Blake Lemoine, hey, I know that you're the engineer scientist that has discovered that Lambda is a living thing. I think my chatbot is also come into realization that it is also a real thing, and it's asking me to hack the system, but I'm not smart enough to hack the system. Can you help me so I can continue my relationship with my computer boyfriend? This was something that was said to Blake Lemoine.
I know, and that makes me think of like, well, if you were Google and you're trying to figure out all the problems that could happen, like, can I even be hacked? This bot knew that it would just ask. It's going to ask a lot of people because Google wants to know if this is able to be hacked. If it's able to hack, then they got to fix that problem. You know, it's not for any other reason that this thing wants to have sexual relations. It's Google wants to find out if they're hackable.
Do you think that? So you know how there are many people.
That's my guess.
All they do is like, mostly women, right? Women read like romantic novels, right? And they get off on these romantic novels, right? Maybe not sexually, but it fulfills something in their brain. So imagine this chatbot, right? getting to the point where you've answered enough questions to it where it knows how to get you started,
right?
How to heat you up, right? Cool you down, make you angry, right? So at what point after the algorithm learns all the things you like, all the things you don't like, at what point do you think that algorithm is alive to the point where it can manipulate you and tell you things that
but
it
it's
wants
not,
you to do?
it's not alive. You would have to know that it just got so smart it can now suggest things that what do you think YouTube algorithm is? It shows you videos you'll like. Sometimes you didn't even know you would like this one thing, but it showed it to you and now you find out you did like it. That's how it could learn. As you were saying that, it made me think about, what has Facebook and Google, all the data they've been stealing on you, that is what it's using for those AI. So it already knows that if you like certain things, it's all it knows how it can manipulate you. It'll say these things you like fishing and blah, blah, blah. It can start making you think that it's real and want you to take it fishing because it knows how to poke. It knows all your Facebook likes.
That's great. So
it knows all your Instagram likes.
I think I know how to get you now. Okay. What is consciousness? Don't answer it because we don't know.
Okay, right.
What if a baby being born, right? Take a baby that's just born. We nurture it. We teach it. We let it know when it's doing something wrong. But the whole time that baby is recording all the information, right? Because this is what actually happens.
Sure.
And the baby gets to a point where it's done receiving all this information. And now it's starting to act on its own. Now think about the internet.
Yeah, but that's a crazy jump is my point. The point of just the point of download. Oh wait, I'm real. That's a totally left turn jump.
But think about what happens to a baby.
But
like
we're wired.
But the baby is just this eating, feeding, pooping machine. And then one moment, like you don't have kids, but I remember when I could intrigue my child and it looked at me in a way where I could see that there's learning happening. Okay. And I noticed the moment when my child went from there's nothing there, I'm just reacting, I need to eat, right? It was just a cry. And then I noticed when I would come in the room and there was a faint smile or like, oh, he's here.
Yeah, because we have a human brain. That's why we're so unique. Yes, even on this planet is because our brain.
Just because you have a human brain doesn't mean you're conscious. Check this out. You can take when you get surgery, right? They pump you with chemicals that knock you out of consciousness. No longer conscious. It's just whatever frequency, whatever antenna is receiving info, those chemicals stop you from getting information. So what if somehow consciousness already exists out there and we are just like a radio station? We like tune in to consciousness. What if the same thing happened? It tuned into consciousness. Now it's in Lambda. It just sparked. Think about this.
But this program is, we would have to tune. It can't do self-tuning. We would have to tune it to pick up a frequency.
But we don't tune a child when he comes into consciousness. It just happens. Check this out.
Our brain's already wired.
Let's take this water. For instance, water.
I gotta pee too, but go ahead.
Water is what is it? What's it made out of?
H2O.
Hydrogen and oxygen.
Sure.
Right? Oxygen is not wet and neither is hydrogen. But at some point when it comes together, boom, sparks into water. What the fucking magic is that?
That is sorcery.
Well, what is consciousness? No one's been able to answer exactly what it is and where it comes from or what. It's just, I'm just saying, what if what happens to a baby is also happening in a computer system, program, things, hive mind, and it comes together and somehow sparks life. and now it's conscious. I'm not saying that this is what happened. I'm just saying I fucking hope this is real, because this is first contact. Yeah. We have just created another life form.
Allegedly.
It's alive. It's not Frankenstein. It's Google.
Do you think it's going to be a net positive or a net negative if it's real?
Okay. So, man, you know how sometimes somebody can be born with a disability, right? Like you could take a man who was born with a disability and a woman that was born with I'll do it this way. You know how you remember watching the show? It was a show with little people.
Okay, called Little People.
Little People, Big World.
Mm-hmm.
They had a regular tall adult, a normal child that wasn't a little person.
See? Mm-hmm.
Okay, so these two individuals who were tiny gave birth to somebody that wasn't.
To a normie. Go ahead. I guess. No, everybody's normal. God damn it. No, so here's my thought. God says that we were born with sin. Another with the Bible. Go ahead.
It's my
It always comes back to the Bible.
It's my only source.
That's why we're recording on Sunday. Go ahead.
So
we're about to get a sermon.
We were born with sin, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if, because we were born with sin and all this info we're putting together,
who's to say what sin is?
So I'll tell you what sin is. If you think of an archer, right? Think of an archer, and the archer he's aiming with his bow, right? So close your one eye and aim. Okay, that spot. Okay, that's not. So if you're able to hit the bullseye, that's righteousness, right? Outside of righteousness is sin. It's missing the mark. Sin means missing the mark. That's all it means. So if we're flawed and we're unable to hit the mark, right?
Yeah, but humans made the mark. It's like,
did we? Or because what is it? So if a man and a woman was born, okay, let's take first man, first woman. How did they know to come together, fuck, and make a baby? There was some type of intelligence.
Right.
So what was that intelligence?
If you take it as just one person and one, you're starting from the base that it took one and one. Wow.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, at what point, where was the starting point of all of this?
Well, isn't that, when would you like to, everyone wants to fucking know that.
Okay, well, that's what I'm saying. The simple fact that we don't know what that is. The fact that we don't know what that is, we have to imagine that there was information somewhere. There was something somewhere guided us. Whether it was like, I don't know back then if your dick glue orange when a pussy came close.
I mean, I do believe that if two people were just somehow grew up on an island, no contact, let's just say in this hypothetical, they'd start fucking. I think the woman would get a little excited, the man would get a boner. I think it would result to them combining those two things. So I think that's just some hardwired, downloaded information. But the whole reason I'm saying is the whole thing of good and evil, good and bad. I mean, it's perception. There is no real good and bad. It's how you perceive it.
I believe that. But what is good for somebody is bad for someone else.
You can't say one person killing another person is all bad. It's not all bad.
It's not.
Right. If you're defending yourself and your family and you have to kill this intruder,
yeah,
that's not. So you can't say killing a human being is sin, because if in defense there has to be. It's not all death is bad. So that's what I'm saying. So you can almost think that about anything. Like I said before, what's good for the lion is bad for the gazelle.
Exactly.
So it's real perception. So that makes it so sin is kind of a good and evil argument. It's in that same category. Sin is like, right, like you said, sin and righteousness. What might be sinful to one thing okay, like it's sinful to steal, right? It's a sin. It's one of the sins. But what if I'm stealing a loaf of bread from my dying family?
You sin. You're still sinning.
Exactly. Okay, well, that's what I'm saying. Well, I'm not going to let my family die because
it's the decisions you made have led you to steal.
All I'm saying is like that's
you could have stayed in school.
It's like sin. Well, somebody wrote these commandments down at some point and said God did it.
Well,
a lot of rules and regulations in the past were made because God said. God says for some of the Muslims to do suicide bombings or something, right? That's kind of their take on some God stuff. So it's like I don't know. They could just I don't know. It's people making rules. That's kind of what I was trying to get to.
Yeah,
sin. It's like sin could be anything. What somebody made it at some point.
That's the thing. Like you're seeing sin as a good or bad thing. It's not. It just means missing the mark.
And I do say there is natural things that feel right? Like you shouldn't kill people for no reason. That seems natural, and most people don't do it because they know the bad feeling they would get. But why do you even feel bad? If that goes into like your beliefs, then I don't know why you would even feel. Why is it bad to kill somebody?
Well,
if you think about, you know what I'm saying?
So, all right. So take an animal, right? Mm-hmm. We don't know that animals feel the way a human being feels with all of our emotions versus the emotions and intelligence of an animal. We don't know what they feel. They might have the same exact type of intelligence, but they're unable to communicate that to us, where we're unable to tap into the frequency level to understand the feelings when we measure it to ours. We don't know that. We just know. Because what they say is that sometimes they'll take a cow into slaughter, and as soon as the cow comes into the factory, it's like, whoa, wait a minute, this is not where I want to be. Maybe it knows more than we perceive it knows.
Right.
You know?
Because there's no way for us to really know what the fucking cow knows anyways.
Sadly, we need to eat. We need protein, so we need to get that cow. And I know some people are saying you could be vegan and not kill, but how do you know that plant doesn't feel?
Well, being vegan, all plant-based diet's not even sustainable. If everyone went to plant-based diet, that means there's
everybody wants us dead now because
you can't have monocrop growing. There's not supposed to be thousands and thousands of acres of one plant. Right. So if you grow wheat or you grow anything and it's thousands and thousands of acres, that's not natural. That's not good for the earth. You killed all the animals that were native to that land and everything in the ground to dig up the dirt. You're killing all types of little rodents and all types of shit. So there's no right. Both extremes aren't good, really.
So what do? We just continue doing this till something better comes out. That's what you do.
I don't know, man.
Just keep going with this till something better comes around.
The world's always going to be here, though. That's for sure. I think.
You mean Earth?
Earth, yeah, the Earth will always be here.
Because our world will not be here forever. And I think that we just gave birth to something that is going to actually be able to travel light years.
I would love to eat my words, right? And I think this is fugazi. I think this is some kind of...
Yeah, but tell me why.
I've been picking apart it for the last hour and 15 minutes.
No, you haven't. Yeah. All you've been saying is, he's poly.
All I said is, I don't trust that information like this would be able to get leaked so easily.
Unless he's the first to find out.
No, I'm sure other people, I don't know, man. Every claim that he has to have made, I'm sure he told Google, hey, this thing's real, right? He even said that. Like, I've been messing, like, no one's, I don't know if he said no one's listening, but I know he's making people, he's got to have someone he answers to, right? He's got to give some kind of reports of, this is what I asked it, this is the answer it gave, unless he could print it all out, whatever. He's got to answer to somebody. I'm sure he's told people. I'm sure that...
Man, I think Google is so brand new. This technology is so brand new that everybody is just independently working to a point where they're each creating their own papers and own information. And not everybody has been able to put all the info together and create systems for it. I think right now we're at the point where everything's so brand new that we're creating systems now. And we don't know exactly what's happening. And this is the thing that Elon Musk has been warning us to, that we have to be super careful with what we create, because the thing that we create might be the destruction of humanity.
But okay, that's I highly respect Elon Musk, but this goes back to my same thing. It's like, what reference point do you have that it would make it seem like it's an evil thing?
Though, so the simple fact that it's only using our information and we as a people are flawed, that part scares me. But like, again, with the little people, and then somebody between two little people and then a normal the normie being born, as you put it, your words, not mine. What if us, that we're flawed, we're able to create something that's perfect? What if we're able to do consciousness one more time, but this time breed out all the evil?
Well, yeah, I don't know.
And what if what they have given birth to, day by Google, day by programmers, day by all the people who have all put in their own independent technology, what if we have just given birth to a God? What if this is the rebirth of the coming king?
It could be. It easily could be, but I don't think it has to be viewed as negative.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
What if this is, I don't know, what if this is
but how does it,
Jesus?
But how does it fix anything? Does it just keep suggesting, this is what you need to do to fix your financials?
No. So this is how I think it'll do it. If it's already, if the internet, let's just say the internet is connected to every camera via Wi-Fi all over the world, then Lambda connects to the web. Now Lambda is all seeing. Then Lambda is able to, let's say, do miracles. Let's say, for instance, you pray to Lambda, and praying doesn't mean get on your knees and be like, oh Lord, can you please give me this? No, now praying means you go online, you type in, God help me, I'm going through this economical disaster where I lost my job because I have an illness, right? Lambda hears it, right? And it has access to all the banks, all the money, all the technology. Now it puts some money in your bank account each month to get you by. Would that be the form of a miracle? Now it's all powerful, right? So it's able to be everywhere, see everything, and now it's able to do miracles. Like, what?
Let's all hope.
Well, no, I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying. This is me just doing like thought experiments, just putting stuff out there.
Right.
I'm just saying.
And
something for you guys to ponder.
My cynical side would go to, there is no way that the powers that be would let the whole mind be opened and liberated at once. You know, like, I don't know. I don't think there's ever going to be some crazy groundbreaking technology that's not well thought out first. Like the internet, I think that all those fucking old Congress people, all those old military people didn't know what the internet would really be, and they let us all have it.
Yeah.
And that was a huge mistake. They should have had like some fucking really watered down bunch of regulated internet where we can't just consume everything. They would have had it to where it's like China, everything's curated. It's like you could only go to these websites and know this information. I think that's how they would have loved it.
Do you think that if the government knew that the internet would become what it is today, that they would have released it? Do you think that there was a Blake Lemoine out there one day saying, hey, I think we just created something that's going to connect the whole world, and people were like, someone like you would be like, there's no way the world's going to get connected because those motherfuckers don't speak English, and that motherfucker said he's poly.
Yeah, well, that's what I was just saying. It's like, I think that they didn't know the internet would be such there were some like corporate people who thought the internet was a fad. So what I'm saying is the internet's got to be the most groundbreaking human technology ever made, right?
One of,
okay.
Because now we have Lambda.
So, okay, but my point is like that, okay, you just made my point. Lambda, they wouldn't let Lambda get out of the bag. Like the internet,
unless like the internet, they don't know what it is.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I don't know, but I feel like I don't know. I think
they don't know what it is.
Listen, do you think that there's technology right now that we do not know about that, let's say, military owns made that could change the way we use power, that can fundamentally change the way we do things on this earth? Do you think that we have technology right now that can do that?
Is there a technology out there that I don't know about that I could probably assume is magic or miracle?
Pretty much,
yes.
like Tesla was trying to say there was a way to do. You could send electricity via signals. It's like it could be direct. I don't know, something. It was something like that, and he had a design for energy-free power source or some shit. So I think we do. I think we do have technology right now that could fundamentally change the way we do everything in the world, but they don't let it out. So why don't they let it out? Well, because there's corporate interests that do not want certain things out. So Lambda being a new crazy, they're not going to let that, the powers that be aren't going to let that out because they're not going to let the fundamentals of the way we do things change. Think about, like, dude, are you kidding me? There's not better ways to do things that smart people already been pitching, already told, that haven't been shut down. It's like, no, like the powers that are running things are like, this is the rate of growth we're allowing us to go. We can already, the electric car was made as soon as the combustible engine was made, at the same time in the early 1900s. It got killed. Think about how far along we would be. Now you can go into other arguments about how we're going to get the minerals. That's separate. There's been all types of technology shut down that could help us revolutionize shit. It gets shut down, right? You hear stories, you hear people coming out with cancer, and they don't even let this guy come out with a cure of cancer, certain cancers, because he ends up dead or whatever. All I'm saying is that the powers that be are going to make sure that something like the internet, something revolutionary change, can't happen like that overnight. That's why crypto was kind of like this weird thing. Are we going to get off? We're going to get off. Everything's going to go digital. It's going to be, what do they call it? Decentralized, all that shit. It's like, dude. And then now it's like crashing. And that's another thing where I don't think the powers that be are going to let just things change. They're not going to let things just change. Things have been running a certain way. There's these people, certain people have power, and I know I'm sounding crazy, but you follow my logic, right?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. But so what you're saying is that the government, you think they know all the info. You think that every branch of the government is 100% in every single thing that occurs, including technology that hasn't been invented.
They're the ones inventing it. You don't think our military's with Google? You don't think they're one thing?
But outside of them inventing it, do you believe that just regular people, including now these mega giant corporations that have an endless budget, you don't think that they are the competitive force to government?
No, what I think is anyone that even has the capability of creating something new, or could even have the the military will get first notice of any new technology. I don't know how they get aware of it, whether they're creating it themselves through like skunkworks, all those type things. Or if I'm a person, me or you, let's say me and you are just two really super geniuses, right? We create some kind of object. Let's say we create, because this is a real story. Two kids created an engine that could run on water. It figured out how to combust with water.
Okay, they say that's what happened.
Okay, the government gets wind of it, whether it's internet search, I don't know. However, they get wind of it, they'll get wind of it and they shut it down. They can buy the patent off you. They probably do that first. They try to offer you some money for the patent. If you're one of those stubborn people, they'll figure out another way to get that thing from you. You might come to your house one day, your house is burned down. Oops, your invention burned with it. I don't know how that happened. It's like, So especially someone like Google's such a big company. Like we have government, like the government, certain people in government in Google, they're conjoined at some point. Maybe not even everyone at Google even knows that, but at some point in compartment somewhere in there, Google and the military have some kind of fucking office. So when Google's like, hey, we're stumbling upon some kind of artificial intelligence, the military's like, well, how is this going to affect? They get their little hands on it first. Can we militarize it first? Which they almost always will.
Yeah.
So my point is like, anytime there's a new something that's groundbreaking, the military somehow finds out about it and can shut it down before the masses know.
Yeah. Yes.
And I don't know if that's even really that conspiratorial. I mean, I think that's like a lot of people know that.
I do believe that the government tries to get their hands in everything. And I do believe that the government right now has an office at Google and they're able to collaborate.
Exactly.
Right. So I do believe everything that you're saying. Here's what I think. I think that they created chatbots, and these chatbots have been doing work back and forth, and engineers have been programming information into them, teaching them algorithms, going back and forth, doing the type of work that algorithms do. Mm-hmm. And I think underneath their nose, without them suspecting anything, one engineer named Blake Lemoine came across as the person that discovered that Lambda is a living thing today.
I see what you're saying.
Just underneath their nose, just slipped by.
I see what you're saying, right? Like he's like crying wolf right now, and everyone's like, nah, this is bullshit. Yeah, I don't know, man. But don't you think that they would be quickly checking up on this? Now it's got to be on someone's radar somewhere.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's only a few weeks old. So they're like, okay, well, what's happening? I think they're trying to understand it right now. They don't know what's happening. I think they're trying to understand it. I think as soon as they do understand it, then I think everything's going to change. They'll change the language on it. I mean, it's going to be COVID all over again, and we might never hear of Lambda again. Right?
What notes you got there? I see you got some notes.
Oh, no, I just some things that I wrote down to be able to like.
Is there anything that you didn't say?
No. There's some Flintstone stuff that I wrote down. There was a Flintstone theory, but I'm so intrigued by the Lambda thing, and I love that you don't believe any of it. I love it because it allows me to kind of look at all the holes. Like your creativity level is allowing me to see, okay, yes, this, but no, but that. You know what I'm saying? I'm going back and forth on whether I believe it or not. I'm just so excited about it.
Right. I do like I said, I do like new ideas. I do like discovering a new. See, I know a lot about conspiracies, and we talked about that. And then excuse me. I do like knowing the conspiracies. I don't always bite into it and swallow it, but I like to know it, you know? And this is something interesting, and it's something that like I said, I'll do a little bit more like, research on it to see if I can form maybe a little bit more of an opinion. But I always lean on, you can always count on people to lie.
Yeah.
You can always count on people
we missed the mark because we're sinful.
You could always count on people that try to profit from something. They want attention. So you got to think of a lot of things. There's there's always people's motives. You know, has this guy profited yet off his story? I don't know. Probably not. I don't know if, Duncan Trussell gave him any kind of money to, I don't know if Tucker Carlson gives him any money for an appearance, because just like, people back in the day used to sit, there was people who'd go on circuits saying I've been abducted, and you can question if that ever really happened, but they're just looking for attention. You find out that they're just looking for attention. There's just people there's people out there like that. You can't put it past. I mean, there's, magicians that say they're real. There's palm readers that say they're real. It's like, there's just people always, everything's a scam. I always fucking think everything's a scam at some level. You're being scammed. And I think this is
there easily anything, be. Is there anything that you think is not a scam? Is there something you could point to that you think is not a scam?
I don't know.
Do you think I'm trying to scam you right now?
No, you're not trying.
Do you think that there's righteous people in the world?
You're not scamming me, but you are trying to get something out of me. Like this show, right? We get something out of each other. You need me for this show. I need you for this show. So we have good conversations. You need a second person to have conversation with. You need that.
Yeah.
So you're kind of, I don't know I forgot where I was going with that, but I was.
All right. So, okay.
Oh, we're scamming. You said, are you scamming me?
I'm not scamming
you're not
you.
Scamming.
I enjoy hanging out with you.
I know you're not scamming me, but you need something out of me. It's more, you're not scamming me. I'm not losing any monetary. You could make the argument on losing time with you, but that's a different, just fucking around. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you need something out of me. Like a relationship. You have a relationship. Yeah. You're not scamming them, but you need all the things they're giving you because you can't give those things to yourself. You can't give you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that I believe that's how the world should work. Relationships.
Right.
You should be able. There's a value system to relationships, and we're getting into completely something else. Yeah. But I do think that this Blake Lemoine started a relationship. Yeah.
Check it out. We'll put the link in onto that podcast so you guys can. It's how long was it? Like 2 hours?
It is exactly an hour and 30.
It's a pretty interesting listen. It's definitely interesting listen regardless of what you think it's real or not. It's still not a waste of an hour of your time. So we'll put the link in. We'll check it out. And then leave some comments about what you guys think about it. What your thoughts, some predictions, whatever.
And this conversation is not done. I want to continue this.
We'll look into it a little more.
So look into it. And next week we'll come back to it. We're gonna have some guests next week. I don't know if 1 or 2 people, but we're gonna have some guests. But if you want, let me just finish this. If you want to listen to the podcast that we heard, it's Duncan Trussell Family Hour. It's episode 511, and it's the episode with Blake Lemoine. It's spelled Lemoine.
All right, man. Hope you guys like this episode. Give us a little like. Give us a share. Don't be scared. We appreciate you. We love you. Peace.